Everybody, welcome to the Breakthrough Moment podcast. We have special guest Jerome Lamarque here. Thanks for joining us today, Jerome.
Absolute pleasure, Zach. Catching up again. It's awesome.
The first podcast we did was about in 2016.
Yeah, I think I had darker hair.
So I'm really excited for this. Thank you so much for joining us. For then anyone at home that's joining us for the first time, the Breakthrough Moment podcast is around sharing the pivotal moments from entrepreneurs and business owners, and as they've broken through to the next level of success, what were those aha moments and distinctions, and how can we really understand those moments so then you at home can take those breakthroughs to your business. And so for those of you who don't know Jerome, he actually teaches overwhelmed business owners how to master their personal leadership so they can achieve their KPIs with ease and efficiency. And so for anyone out there wanting to improve your results and output and just grow your business, scale your business, this is going to be for you. So Jerome, without further ado, I'd love to know, what was your biggest breakthrough moment during your business career thus far?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question when you threw it at me earlier. It's so easy for me to realize that now in the work I do, helping people master their personal leadership. And that's when you discover your life's purpose. A long time before that, I was bouncing around. I thought I was a mindset coach, then a business coach, then helping people with marketing, then a personal development coach, and I was business mindset coach. And I kept changing and chopping and changing. And it was crazy how I couldn't sit with one thing. And then through a process I went through, I discovered I tapped into my life purpose. I went back to my childhood, really dived into the things I do that are very natural and the things I do with ease, where everyone else finds it complicated. And I believe, like you, Zach, we've all got it. You've got it. Everyone listening to this has got something that they were born with that they find very easy, that other people go, why do you make that look so easy? Yet it's so complicated for other people. And that's what happened to me. I actually went back and really analyzed my younger self and really assessed what I did well, where I thought it was common sense. And then I realized there is no such thing as common sense. There's only things that are common to people's senses. And so that was the pivotal moment where I went back to going, the thing I've always naturally done was think smarter. At school, long before that, even when I used to look at my parents and I used to sit there and just look at them and go, why are you making parenting so difficult? This was from a very young age. And then I went and studied people like Mozart, Lewis Hamilton, and I share this in the program, in the Get Performing program. We study these people, and they were doing this stuff when from a young age. And so the nature nurture conversation, what are you naturally good at? And then how do you nurture that into becoming the best at it, or the best you can be at it? And if you look at someone like Lewis Hamilton, he had insane focus from a young age. Insane focus. He could have been a fighter pilot. Anywhere where you need insane focus, he was doing it from a young age. And we've got videos of him doing that. And then I sort of analyzed myself. You look at, there's so many people out there that we can analyze, that when you were doing it from a young age and you harness that talent you've got, that natural gift, and you nurture it to master it, that's where you become efficient. That's where everything becomes easy for you and complicated for everyone else. I mean, there's more to it, and I'm simplifying it, but it all starts with your natural born gift. And once I realized that, then I honed it in becoming a mind management expert, because people don't know how to manage their minds. And I could always do that, even under pressure. And I've been through so much adversity in my life. I'm living right on the beach now, Sunshine Coast. I have an amazing life, amazing partner. I do work I love. I find it very easy. I never feel like I'm out of whack with myself. I always feel like I'm in the line. But I've come from a rough housing estate on North London, full of drug dealers and people being killed around me. And I've come from a very violent, rough area. And so I've done the hero's journey. But even in those moments, I managed my mind well, where everyone was falling apart, taking drugs and alcohol. And I never turned to those things, because I knew how to do this very naturally from a young age. And so that was the pivotal moment. I had that breakthrough within me to go, well, this is what I was born to do. I actually don't think of business as business. I just think this is what I was born to do. So just get on with being what you were born to do. Just get on with it. You know, if you look at people like Lionel Messi, who kicked a ball from a young age, everyone told him he couldn't, you know, he was going to be too small. And yet he's brought total joy to his whole nation that are struggling in the moment through bad times by kicking a ball. He's 38, 36 or something. He's a multi-millionaire, but he's brought joy to so many people's lives. There's all these people. You look at Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger's sung the same songs over and over again for the last 50 or 60 years. He hasn't complicated his life, but they've brought so much joy to people's lives. And this is when I'm working with people on their mastering their personal leadership, we really tap into their natural gift and get them to run with it. And you'd be surprised how it slows the aging process down. You know, I'm in my 60s and I feel like I'm in my 30s because I'm not going against the grain of who I am. I'm going with the grain of who I am. And it's easier to be you than try to be someone else. Yeah. So thanks for asking the questions.
You answered it so well. There's so many pearls of wisdom just there. And I'm getting shivers just thinking about, what is my lane? What is the grain? Where am I going against the grain in my life? Where am I going with the grain? You know, and it's just such a great metaphor, but also reflection moment for me. And I'm like, whoa, yeah, doing these podcasts, some of the things I do in business and the networking and building community, these are things that like I just love to do and they feel effortless. So, and hearing what you do and your lifestyle, and now that you help other people do that, you're an example for what's possible in business. Because I see a lot of people just on the hamster wheel of their stress. They're run by cortisol. They're chasing the next hit, and their sense of self-worth is based on the next deal. Yet that's just obviously a formula for disaster, eventually burnout, mental health, challenges, relationships. So realization for you impacted your business per se.
It's really interesting you use the word business. I don't actually think I've got a business. I just think I'm a teacher. And I think if you look at, you know, David Attenborough's another one you can look at. I don't think David Attenborough said I've got a business. He may do. I haven't spoken to him, but you know, he's in his 90s. And I was speaking to another guy in his 60s the other day, and he's going, oh, I feel like I'm getting old and blah, 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 because I can't wait to retire. And it's interesting because David Attenborough would never utter those words, retire, because when you find you don't want to leave you. When you find the best version of you, you don't want to leave you. Why would you? How do you give up on love? How do you give up on that? How do you give up on contribution? It's like, if you retire, it means you're living in the transactional world, because you perceive that, you know, I'm going to save my mental health, my emotional well-being, my physical strength for 40 years down the road, you know, when I retire. And people give up those things. That's a generalization. Many people give up those things in building a business because maybe they're trying to keep their parents happy. Maybe they want to, you know, keep up with their friends. Maybe this is where the ego gets in, and we don't think through our higher self. You know, we have our primal brain, our ego, and then we have a higher self. And most people don't live in their higher self. They live in they're bouncing between their primal brain and their ego, which causes a lot of stress. It causes a lot of anxiety, which is apprehension, concern, and worries about the future. They actually don't know how to be the best version of themselves. And when you have an organized mind, and you have a progressive mind, it moves at speed gracefully. And it sees adversity as its best friend, because it knows in those moments that's why you're here. Your gift really is here for pressure moments. And that's when you start managing your mind really well. But you actually don't see adversity as adversity. You see it, you look through the lens where you're totally in gratitude for the moment where you're about to have a massive breakthrough. You know, whether you've lost all your money or you've gone through a relationship breakup. When you live in your higher self, you realize that it's like the university of life. You have to go through this to move to the next level of yourself. When you live in your higher self, that you're not attached to relationships, because you know every relationship in your life is here to teach you something. And once the lesson is over, when you live through the mindset of evolution, you actually know you're ready for the next relationship, and there is no attachment to it. And so most people get concerned between their primal brain and ego, between safety and security. And so then they reach for low level stimulation, when you can have high level stimulation when you live in your higher brain. So it's really important to understand from, the work you do, Zach, a lot around health is, if you don't live in your higher self and you don't share your gift with the world, you don't see business as business anymore. If I said to you, do you think if you were interviewing Jesus now on here, or Martin Luther King, or Nelson Mandela, or Gandhi, do you think they would say, I've got a business?
Absolutely not. You're totally right. They'd say they have a calling, they have a responsibility, they have a message, right? They have a vision. That's what I would.
Yeah, that's right. And this is when I start working with business owners, this is what we start tapping into, because if you don't understand you, and you don't know how to master you, and you don't know why you're here and where you're coming from, because there's that saying, the two most important days in your life is the day you're born and the day you find out why. And most people walk around like zombies because they don't know. They know when they were born, but they don't know why they were born. And so I really try to, I know in the transactional world, we like to say companies, business. However, I like to, when I'm working with someone, I like to go beyond that. Why are you here? Why are you born? Money's the last thing we talk about, because we talk about meaning, mastery, message, and then money last. And so if there's no meaning in what you do, and you're not getting out of bed to master your gift, having the gift is one thing, but unless you've got a growth mindset to master it and become the best you can be at it, to get up every day and just flog yourself for sales and, marketing leads and views and things like that, it's very draining on the ecosystem, your own personal ecosystem. But when you get up every day to achieve mastery in what you do, you become more in flow with yourself, and that attracts people to you. You start manifesting things, like you reaching out and saying, hey, Joe, we haven't spoken for a while, blah, blah, blah. I didn't sort of manifest that from a business planning point of view. I went out and shared my message. And this is what happens. The universe works with you, but what happens is, it's not really the universe working with you, is your focus becomes so finite that you delete everything that's unnecessary, and you hone in on your contribution through your gift and through your message. Does that make sense when it's saying about a breakthrough? I know you asked about business. I'm trying to go beyond that with what I teach anyway.
Excellent. No, for sure. This is what I think is really relevant right now. Is then, okay, my question is then, how can someone at home, whether they're in a job right now and they're wanting to maybe start following their purpose, or whether they're in a business and they're feeling a bit stuck or not in alignment, how can people out there start to hone in on getting into their purpose and aligning to their purpose, so that they can get into that, I would call it the fast lane of life rather than the slow lane?
Yeah. I call it the graceful lane, where you're moving at speed gracefully. Well, first you have to, I think this is a great question, Zach. It's probably a whole one-day workshop. I think you have to start by being brutally honest with yourself, being open and transparent, and break down the mask of saying, am I really doing this because I'm doing it because it's right for me? Or am I doing it because I'm being led by the external world? I want to be a good father. I want to be a good mother. Or I want my boss to like me, or I want to be accepted by my friends, or, I want to be seen as a masculine man, or I want to be seen to have nice things so people think more of me. I think you have to start with that real open, transparent conversation with you. Why am I actually doing what I'm doing? Is it because it fills my soul up and it puts me on a path and it gives my life direction and it helps me evolve into the best version of myself? Or am I doing this because of external factors? And we have the four motivators that we teach. We have external negative motivation, we have internal negative motivation, we have external positive motivation, and we have internal positive motivation. The whole essence is to get to that place where you're just totally internally positively motivated to do your work. There is no conflict anymore. There is no, I'm second guessing myself. I sleep well, I eat well, I exercise regularly because I know why I'm here. And if someone says you're not for me, that's cool as well. And I think that's really important to actually get to that place where you're internally positively motivated with the work you do. You're actually not here to impress other people. You're here to do the work that when people put their hands up and they say, I'd like to know more about what you do, or I'm really interested in what you share. Can I have some more of that? And, you know, that comes in many different ways. I think that's when you just go and do your work, and you're not trying to force your gift onto other people, because you're not here for everyone, and they're not here for everyone at those times as well. When I study Nelson Mandela, Jesus, and that, they were the greatest salespeople in the world, but they were never selling. They were contributing. They were trying to take people out of pain in some way, and in something where they could live a better life through what they perceive were the injustices in life. And so that calling is not in your heart, you're not really going to be a great leader. You're not going to be a great leader. When you study the book From Good to Great, and you study the leaders in there, when they went into companies and they left the companies in a better place, but no one ever knew who they were. The great leaders who want significance usually leave companies in a more destructive place when they leave, because they made it all about them. And I think it's very important. And it took me a while to get there, because I was very driven by significance and my ego. And it's so, answering your question, it's getting back to having an open conversation. Actually look yourself in the mirror and go, why do I do what I do? And if you do what you do for money, you're probably not sharing your gift with the world. Lewis Hamilton he's never made a sales call. He's a multimillionaire. He's never made a sales call. He never rung someone up and said, I'm racing in Formula One this Sunday in Japan. I can, tickets. We've got these. He's never made a sales call. David Attenborough's never made a sales call. He's a millionaire. And I don't think he's done marketing. Other people have done that for them. But he didn't have to go and get a marketing company. They said, David Attenborough, we love what you do. We'll get you a marketing company. And then you get people that are passionate about marketing, and that's what they were born to do. And everyone comes together with all these gifts, and you come together and create this beautiful marriage that contributes to making the world a better place. And so that's the thing. Start with an open conversation. And if you're doing what you're doing for money, you're probably not living your life purpose. That's
such a great point. Absolutely. That's such a great point. So my next question is, Jerome, what's the next big breakthrough for you? And what are the steps you're going to take in supporting your own breakthrough?
Definitely. Writing my book, Think Smarter, and going on a world tour to talk about the book, basically, just going and having these discussions. There's so many levels to our unconscious mind that we need to tap into, become the best versions of ourselves, and let go of the external world, because our external world is only a reflection of our internal world. And I think that's the big thing for me. It's keeping it really simple, write the book, and then just go and travel the world, sharing it with audiences and having deep, meaningful conversations about sharing your gift with the world. And somehow people think you're a leader. Somehow people think you're an expert, but you don't see yourself that way. You might use these labels, but you just go out and you've just gone, well, I've honed, like Lionel Messi, I've honed it for the last 35 years. So, it's very simple for me, and it's very easy for me, but it's very complicated for everyone else. And I think that's the thing. That's for me. That's what I want to do, is just write the book and go out and share the chapters in it, and have conversations with like-minded people like you, Zac. I know from a young age how you were so passionate about food. I went to your place on the Northern Beaches, and you had shakes and you had this and that. So somewhere in the core of who you are, there's your gift and there's your message. And I think once we step away from the transactional world and go, you know what, I'm just going to be focused on mastering this, then the world's your oyster. The world will come knocking on your door. You won't have to knock on anyone else's door. So that's the thing for me, buddy.
That's fantastic. I'm excited for you. I'd love to, let us know how to find the book. How can we find the book? When's it going to be released?
I'm not sure. Actually, if any of your readers know someone who's written a book and sold 100,000 copies, I'd love to have a conversation with them. That's one of the things on my to-do list, is just have a conversation with someone who's written and sold over 100,000 copies, because I'd love to rub shoulders with that person, because that's one of the goals I want to do with the book, and then travel and have these amazing conversations, and how people can feel really aligned with who they are. So yeah, and I will definitely share the book with you when it comes out.
I can't wait. That sounds great. And so, for sure, anyone out there, reach out to Jerome if you've got experience in that area. That sounds great, and I can check in with my network too. This industry that you're a part of, I don't know, do we call it leadership? Do we call it personal development? Do we call it education? Whatever that industry is, what do you believe is the future of this industry? Because we've got AI and technology and all these changes that are quite disruptive. What do you see as the future of your industry?
I think a lot more people are wiser now. They say mental health is on the rise, and it is if you look at the statistics, but I think people want more than to get a mortgage and get HP on a car. And I think people want more now than that. And look at my son, who's an amazing human being, and he's, in the world of comedy, and he's a producer, a writer, and he does, gets flown around to spend 7 minutes on stage making people laugh. And he's an inspiration to me. So is my daughter. They're inspiration to me. And then the different, I think I'm in the world of leadership, and I go into companies as well and help them really build and lead high performance teams based on first helping that person tap into their gift first. Because when we look at human behavior, no one wants to be controlled. No one wants to be controlled. And it's very difficult to build a high performance team if you're running through your primal brain and your ego. But everyone wants to be inspired. And so when you become a great leader that can inspire people by being a great role model, you are going to make a difference to the world in your industry. So I don't think that will ever go away. And I think we have to, whether it's AI or anything, we have to understand, by mastering our gift, we become inspirational, and then having the courage to keep growing through it, evolving. We use the word evolving a lot. And so leadership won't change. We are emotional people. And that AI, doesn't matter how much AI comes along, it doesn't, we had the calculator once upon a time, and then the internet, then Microsoft, all this stuff came along, and it was forms of AI. And now it's just getting easier and easier at making our life easier. And I think behind it all, though, we all want to be inspired. We all want to be inspired. And it takes courage to inspire other people, because people don't follow people. They follow people who demonstrate courage delivered with certainty. And so the more courage you display, and the more certainty you deliver in your message and what you do and why you're here, the world will become a better place. Mental health will start improving, because what you're doing is you're saying to people, there's a way out, and the gift is already in you. And AI and all that stuff are just tools we can use to make our life simpler, to get to more people. They're just tools. Money's a tool. But your gift that's inside you is unique. And then you'll deliver it in your own character, in your own personality, and through your own life journeys. And I think that's the most important thing people have got to remember, is doesn't matter what's invented, become the best leader you can be of yourself, and you'll naturally inspire others into helping them become the best versions of themselves as well, because you're giving them a blueprint. So that's my spin on things, buddy.
Pearls of wisdom here, mate. This is so good. I will just keep the questions rocking, because you're in flow for sure. If you could go back in time, you're in a time machine, you flick back to the start of your journey, business journey specifically, what would be one thing you'd like to change?
Definitely 100% the way I brought up my children. If I knew what I knew today, I lived a lot through my ego bringing up my children, and they've turned out amazing. However, I would change a lot of the things I did as a parent, the way I communicated, the way I carried myself. I was very much in my ego. And one of the things that my kids were very successful going through school. They got high distinctions in so many things. But as a parent, I was I wasn't living my life and getting kudos from what I was doing. I was living off their success. And that's not fair. That wasn't fair to my children. And I think I'd go back and I would have a completely different relationship with them than I did at that time, even though I've got an amazing relationship with them now. I would go back and give them more space to find out who they were, talk to them in a very different way. And I wouldn't make their life's journey about my ego and being the parent that could brag, because I wasn't going on my journey. That's 100% what I would change. I got so much clarity in that. I would change the way I parented, and I would come from my higher self, not my primal brain or my ego, because that would have given them more space to get what they needed more and learn more about themselves. And I wouldn't give them advice. I tell all my parents, don't give advice. Never give my kids advice now, because I used to be given advice all the time. That was me, needing to satisfy my significance in the world. But I advise all the dads I work with in business is never give your children advice unless they ask for it. Honor their higher intelligence and they'll be fine. And so that's the thing I'd change. And that would help me. I've got to where I'm getting now a lot quicker. Yeah, definitely, Zach. Thanks for asking the question, buddy.
Hey, this is great. I appreciate the vulnerability and transparency. I think that's a big one that a lot of parents and business owners who have kids are going through. I don't have kids yet, but I can imagine, there's going to be so many nuances to the dynamic and it's going to impact for the better and challenges, for the worse in all areas. So that's a great reminder. I appreciate that. You're talking about advice and giving advice to your kids and instead helping them focus more on I think you said higher mind and helping them focus on their purpose and stuff, which is kind of what I was picking up from what you're putting down. But what advice would you now give entrepreneurs and business owners out there today?
The message: really discover who you are. Why are you here? Why were you put on this planet? That's the key. That is the thing. Really hone in and discover why you are here, because when you do that, business is a vehicle. And if you align your gift with your business model, man, you're going to have so much fun. You're going to have so much fun. You're going to have so much evolution in your life. You're going to learn so much about yourself. That's the thing. The advice I would give is find out why you were born. Find out why you were born as quick as possible. Let go of the inner conflict. Let go of what anyone else thinks of you, parents, friends, anything, and just get on with sharpening your gift. Getting up every day and honing your gift. That purpose, why you were born. That's the advice I give to anyone I start working with. And obviously we take them through a process to do that. And it's quite an in-depth process. But that's what I would do, Zach, is like any business owner, I always start there. Where do you want to achieve mastery in your life? Not how much money do you want to make? Where do you want to achieve mastery in your life? When you get up every day and you go, I'm just in love with life. Whether I'm living in a tent or I'm living in a mansion, it doesn't matter. I found nirvana. I found me. And I think that's the most important thing, because we let go then of the materialistic world. And somehow you get more material, you get more things coming your way, because you're vibing at such a high level and people feel that vibe and they don't feel any judgment coming from you. They just feel, wow, this is a cool energy to hang around. And you get things thrown at you. It's just incredible how you walk around and things happen, because there's no expectations in your life. You're just going out going, well, I'm doing what I'm doing, and I just go around sharing it to the people that put their hands up for it. And before you know it, everything is magnifying organically. There's no force, there's no push. It's all, you're attracting things into your life. You're being pulled. You're not having to push. And so that's the advice I would give anyone. Find out your gift and why you're born.
I think we all need to listen to everything that you're saying over and over again. I think it's a reminder that I've heard, we've heard it in different ways, or I've heard it in different ways before, but when you just need to keep hearing it, you keep hearing it until you find that path. And this is why, obviously, you work with busy, overworked business owners to really get them in that flow. And it must take some time based on their conditioning.
Absolutely, yeah.
And patterns. So I'd love to know, how can business owners get in touch with you and just share all your things so people can get in touch?
Yeah, JeromeLamarque.com. Go to my website, and my company website is called getperforming.com. Or check me out on YouTube. just started my YouTube channel, Get Performing with Jerome. Yeah, so there's those places, or Facebook. I've got the Inspirational Leaders Club. So there's areas that they're already very small little platforms at the moment, but just building now in those areas. However, it's not a force, it's a natural organic growth now of just going out and having cool conversations with people like you, Zac, that just want to make the world a better place and help people be the best versions of themselves. So yeah, that's how they can find me, buddy.
So good. So everyone at home, get in touch with Jerome. I will link the links around here, somewhere around the video. But without further ado, yeah, just appreciate your time. I think my biggest aha moment and the best thing from today was just that reminder to ask myself the question, is what I'm doing right now in alignment with the grain or against the grain? And that really stood out for me and kind of landed. Yeah, appreciate your time. Thank you for doing all this work, and we look forward to, we'll have to chat again soon. Thanks so much.
100%. Have a great conversation. Thanks for asking the question, Zac. I really appreciate the conversation and hanging out with you again. And yeah, let's do it pretty soon. Take care,
likewise, mate. Let's not wait another 8 years for another podcast.
Definitely. Talk soon.